Kelly, we do have a candidate. Steve Scalise has just hit the majority of the House Republicans. They have voted for him to be the nominee on the House floor for Speaker. Now, this does not mean that anything is done yet. Scalise has a long road in front of him at this point.
That's right. In a shocking move, the House of Representatives, Republicans specifically, have nominated Representative Steve Scalise over Jim Jordan as their choice for House Speaker, at least for now. Now, there's gonna be a broader vote on the House floor on this issue, and they are not gonna hold that vote today. They'll hold that vote soon to determine Scalise's fate. But this could take a long time given the fracturing within the Republican Party, given the differences among some of the more traditional Republican wing of the party and the more populist MAGA wing of the party. Now, Scalise didn't have a huge majority among the House Republicans. They voted 113 to 99 to nominate him. And so does he have a chance? I hate to say this, but the opinion of Matt Gaetz obviously matters quite a bit in this situation. Of course, he's the ringleader of this whole effort to oust McCarthy. And so here's what he had to say about Scalise.
What's your reaction now that Scalise has the vote, Speaker-elect?
Right, Matt.
I'm excited for him. Can't wait to go vote for Steve Scalise.
Absolutely.
Long live Speaker Scalise.
I gotta be honest, I'm a little bit surprised that he had no problem with Scalise. Like, Scalise is more in the traditional wing of the Republican Party, whereas Jim Jordan is more representative of the Matt Gaetz MAGA wing of the Republican Party. But it seems like Matt Gaetz is open to voting for Scalise. I really don't care either way, whether it's Jim Jordan or Scalise. These are two individuals who have radically different political views from my own. And I highly doubt that they're going to carry out the best interests of their own constituents, much less what my political goals might be. But nonetheless, there are still some holdouts who would prefer Jim Jordan over Scalise. For example, you have Congressman Max Miller, who voted to remove McCarthy, and he also voted to nominate Jim Jordan. Here's what he said, quote, "I'm not switching my vote. I'm Jim Jordan all the way." Apparently Representative Chip Roy also followed suit. And here's what he had to say. "I will not be voting for Steve Scalise on the floor this afternoon. The House GOP should not have called a vote at 3 p.m. after finishing the vote at 1:30 in Congress. That is unacceptable and purposeful." These guys, I mean, they've got like real easy lives. They're like, oh my God, how dare they call a vote at 3 when we were doing something else at 1:30? Why is that such a big, I don't understand why that's such a big deal. Like, why is it so difficult for you to do two things within the span of like a few hours? Okay, anyway, Jim Jordan did not endorse Scalise after the nomination vote, which raises the possibility that he could continue fighting for the speakership role. But if today was a loss for Jim Jordan, then it might have been an even bigger loss for Donald Trump, who posted the following just last week. Let's take a look. Congressman Jim Jordan has been a star long before making his very successful journey to Washington, D.C., representing Ohio's 4th Congressional District. Jim, his wife Polly, and family are outstanding. He will be a great Speaker of the House and has my complete and total endorsement. It is interesting that Republican congressmen went against Trump's wishes here when it comes to House Speaker. But we'll see if that develops and plays into any other issues among this infighting within the Republican Party. Now, in the midst of all this chaos, to basically replace McCarthy with a new speaker, one representative is still seething over how they were treated in the aftermath of the vote to oust McCarthy from the speakership role. And that person is Congresswoman Nancy Mace. Let's watch.
I'm wearing the scarlet letter after the week that I just had last week, being a woman up here and being demonized for my vote and for my voice. I'm here to let the rest of the world know and the country know I'm on the side of the people. I'm not on the side of the establishment, and I'm going to do the right thing every single time, no matter the consequences, because I don't answer to anybody in D.C. I don't answer to anyone in Washington. I only answer to the people.
You are a sitting member of Congress. You are not in a high school theater class. But theater is all members of Congress do today anyway. I mean, that's all they waste our time with, so I'm not surprised. I don't care that she voted to oust McCarthy. And she's gonna take votes, she's gonna make decisions as a sitting member of Congress that's gonna lead to some backlash, it's gonna lead to some support. Like, don't cry me a river. You have a powerful position in the United States Congress. Like, you're not some pariah because you voted against McCarthy for the speakership role. But I wanna end this segment with a discussion on the interim speaker, the person who is serving as speaker as this chaos plays out and they determine who the actual speaker will end up being. Because that person has some financial ties that are concerning. He's not the only one in Congress who has financial ties that are concerning, but this individual, the temporary House Speaker, is Patrick McHenry, who gavelled the House representatives out of session minutes after the vote came in regard to Scalise. So Capital Account reports that Wall Street would actually love to get him elected as Speaker. And Wall Street often gets what it wants. Now, it doesn't seem like Republican members of Congress are even considering him at the moment, but I do think it's interesting to see how much Wall Street loves McHenry. So much of the finance industry sees McHenry, 47, as the adult in the room, someone who knows policy and how to get things done. As Speaker, they argue he could be a steady hand in a very chaotic time, something that Republicans especially need now. McHenry would be a dream candidate, notes one person. Now, why would the finance sector like McHenry so much? They couldn't be in his pocket, right? Except they kind of are. According to Open Secrets, McHenry has raised almost $3 million. $3 million from the securities and investment industry during his time in Congress. In other words, big business wants McHenry to bring Washington back to the status quo, which is kind of a weird way of framing it because we never really left the status quo when it came to policies that protect and provide cover for corporate greed. But nonetheless, big business has certainly made an investment in McHenry. I want to give you a few more specific details. Since taking over the Financial Services Committee, oh goody, I'm glad he has that role, in January, McHenry has received at least $140,000 from executives at private equity firms, hedge funds, and venture capital firms, as well as from their spouses. Last election cycle, McHenry raised just $7,655, or just 0.2% of his campaign money from small donors, according to data from Open Secrets. That amount was lower than all but a dozen members of Congress. So even though McHenry has stated that he has no interest in serving as Speaker, Wall Street certainly loves him. And whenever Wall Street loves a politician, you gotta follow the money and understand why that is. Either way, I don't really see Scalise as any different from McHenry when it comes to goodies and cookies for Wall Street, but we'll see how it plays out. The most frustrating part about Congress is the gridlock and the inability to pass legislation to fix various broken issues, whether it's the migrant crisis, whether it's our issues with affordable housing. We obviously need to build more housing. We need to at least temporarily stop foreign investment in residential real estate when we have a housing shortage. Like, there's so many issues, so many problems that these very members of Congress love to complain about on Twitter as if they're not sitting members of Congress who could actually draft and pass policies that would, alleviate some of these issues. But instead, they're wearing the scarlet letter on their shirts, they're parading around, engaging in theater, pretending like they're important people doing important things. In reality, they act like children, they act like sideshows, and it's incredibly frustrating. So who knows, maybe there's a possibility that after they decide on who the speaker will be, they'll do something about the migrant crisis. They'll do something about these issues that Americans have been struggling with. I wouldn't hold my breath, but one can hope.
Thanks for watching the video, guys. We also love it if you hit the join button below because that makes you a member, and members allow us to be independent, honest. We can be as progressive as we want, no corporate media influence, and that's all because of you guys. We love doing the show with our members. Hit the join button, become one of the Young Turks.